Welcome back, everyone. I'm Knorr, and for once, I have dragged Tommy K away from the caster desk into, well, the armchair studio thing. So this one, you're sitting out, you're not going to cast. How does that make you feel?
Sad. It's so much fun. In the beginning, I think we were all very nervous about casting, especially in such a studio. And then once you're in it, you can see that content creator gene that the boys have too. You just feel it. You're in it, and it makes you feel alive almost. It's beautiful to do.
Yeah. I mean, the nice thing now is that we can lightly trash talk them if we want to.
Yeah.
When we do the send-off. But before we do that, of course, we are going to recap what we've done so far. We are finally in round 3, so almost halfway through the day. Well, we've got 3 games left. Let's have a look, if we can, at the leaderboard. That's what we're going to do for this segment and some other stuff. But mainly, here's how round 2 ended up. Of course, we watched the Leonard versus Absolute Habibi game. Sorry, not Leonard. Discard Pixel versus Absolute Habibi. Discard Pixel won that one. Leonard won his second game, and Dankus Memecus won one game as well. That puts Leonard and Discard Pixel the ones to look out for. Dankus Memecus, of course, is on a road to redemption. And then it's all to play for Courier, Seemops, and Absolute Habibi. So we'll see what they can do in the next 3 games. Of course, because there's 3 games left, right? So there's actually a lot still left to play for. And the round 3 matchups look like this. Our featured game of this round is Dankus Memecus as the Allies versus Seemops as the Axis. Of course, we saw Dankus Memecus play in round 1 here on stream, but at that point, he was the Axis. And in our other 2 games, we have Leonard versus Discard Pixel, one of those matchups that now that we know that they both have 2 wins, you'd be like, oh, maybe we should have, maybe should have looked at that one. But of course, we want to make sure that all of our players are visible for at least 1 game. And also, we had to plan this in advance.
Also, the interesting game is here, both these players have to redeem themselves still for the third rank. That's very interesting.
And that's, of course, the same on our right here with Absolute Habibi and Courier. So I think everyone is going into this round being like, either if you're coming in with a lot of wins, you're like, I want more. I need to improve my dominance. Or you're coming in and you're like not going so hot. You're like, I actually have to make a point. I need to show that I should be here. And also, 2 games in, now you're at least kind of hopefully knowing what you can expect from the games. We have the player cards for this matchup. Of course, we have Dankus Memecus, still country of origin Sweden. 1 win, 1 loss, esports. And Seemops, we haven't seen Seemops on stream yet, but I've been told by him that he's from Germany. And unfortunately, looking at 2 losses here, we should mention that one of those 2 losses is actually a tie from Absolute Habibi, but we decided that we do not tolerate ties. This is war, thus you lose. So those are our player cards for round 3. Now, Tommy, what do you expect to see from this game? We have Dankus as the Allies. Last time we saw him was Axis, and he was clear at that point that, ooh, Axis, top pick, I'm going to win. That's what he said against Leonard. He didn't win. Now he's playing Allies. Do you think that's going to affect him?
We just heard a very interesting stat, didn't we?
Oh, we did, yes. The interesting stat, which we're now officially stealing from Midgeman, because he's the one that found it. Winners so far, 80% of them have been Axis.
Yeah, and that's so interesting to see Dankus now in the Allies position, and Seemops, who's unfortunately down 0-2 on the better, stronger side of the Axis. Let's see how that plays out in the end.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the things that we've talked a lot about so far, right? Is that it's a new mod. There's a meta, and of course we want to talk about what the meta is and how it's evolving. But realistically, we're probably still in the process of trying to figure out the meta. So it's nice and easy to be, after two rounds, to be like, ooh, Axis, very strong. Where it could just be that the people coming into it maybe had slightly better strategies going into it. Because as we heard, me and Midge talked to Discard Pixel just before the break, and he was saying like, oh, I think the allies are are the stronger one. There's some sneaky stuff.
Very interesting.
That I haven't done yet, which, you know, maybe that's just something you say as a strategy to kind of like have your opponent like shaking their boots a bit when they realize that Discard Pixel is playing allies, and they're like, they have a special strategy.
It's also interesting to see that if something changes. We saw now one Dankus game on stream. Is he going to change this game? Seemops, we haven't seen yet him on stream.
Yeah.
What does he bring to the table? What I love so far about this tournament is everybody has a different approach.
Yeah.
Nothing is stale or one-dimensional. Beautiful. I can't wait as a fan to see more. I'm very excited to see.
Do you have any predictions for this one? Do you think we're going to see naval mainly land, or that sweet mixture of both?
I'm thinking that people start realizing Malta is so important.
Yeah.
They have to go for Malta. Seemops is going to try to snatch it away fast from Pixel. What is Pixel? Is Pixel the first player today showing us to counter the Axis dominance? It's going to be very interesting to see. I think it's going to be about Malta. I would like to see some different division designs maybe, or we see Pixel going back what we just saw in the previous... Dankus Memecus.
Yeah.
To see the design he's showing as last game. Or if he maybe switches something up. Dankus is a very known player in the community for tank design, tank micromanagement, which he hasn't shown the first game. Let's see if the heavy tank is a thing.
Yeah, it might be a case, of course, because I forced you to cast 2 games in a row, so you haven't been able to watch the other games because, unfortunately, we do have to run several at the same time. So maybe Dankus did a really strong tank play last round. Unfortunately, we wouldn't necessarily know because we were busy, you know, with the one you guys were watching as well. But it's going to be interesting to see. I'm hoping that we'll be able to learn that soon enough. Hopefully, we have our casters ready to be able to tell us if that's true or not. Have I mentioned that these are my 2 favorite casters, by the way?
Mine too. Mine too. Beautiful.
Yeah, they're great. They're so good. Here they are.
Hello, 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 and welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. It is a pleasure to be a part of one of the 3 different pairs that is indeed Anna's favorite casters. It's a real privilege.
Yeah, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't the fact that we were Anders' favorites.
So this time, as been mentioned, we've got Dankus trying to redeem himself. He's playing the allies, so far the underdog nation, although of course we have seen them played really well, and we were just hearing in the last game about how there are things that can be done as the allies that no one has thus far tried. I'm very curious to see if we see some of that coming out here today. They have... The allies, that is, I think, have the stronger defensive position if they take Malta early, because their defensive position it's more mountainous, it's a narrower choke point, and it's going to be very, very interesting. I do agree, though, that some big tank plays. So far, we've had a fairly wide tank deployment, with the exception, notably, of our one allied winner that we've had on camera.
Correct.
Of course, Leonard. He had all his tanks in one basket, just that one division that was powering through. But, Midge, what are you expecting from today?
I really don't know what we're going to see because we haven't seen Seemops at all.
True.
Their game was also one that we were studying less in how we previously had the studio set up upstairs. So that, to me, they're a complete unknown, but I think that makes it more exciting because
Absolutely.
We don't know what to expect, nor does Dankus as well. Dankus will have had no information here. Everyone's so new to the mod. There's so much that's going on that people just are unaware of. There's too many variables to properly plan. You can make... Plans never survive contact with the enemy, and I think that is no more so than today. I have some ideas of what some of the allied sneakiness could be.
Yes.
Mainly because I have a lot of insight into because I wrote them.
Sure.
Yeah, I definitely feel like there is a lot of allied potential that isn't being picked up on. Another fun stat is currently, out of our Axis wins, the majority faction pick is Japan. So it is tied to that naval game, and it is tied to Malta.
The thing is, we've talked a lot about the naval game. I've talked a lot about the naval game. I've said that land follows navy, that the navy wins you the initiative. But it's worth noting that at a certain point, land is king. Yeah. And I'm going to come up with as many of these little catchphrases as possible. We've got land follows navy, naval wins initiative, and land is king. The thing is, navy is so important. Obviously, getting Malta, super, super important. People have really focused on that so far. But consider the following. You take Malta. You have a fantastic navy. You completely block any convoy raiding. You completely stop any naval invasion. You can launch your own naval invasions. Then your enemy builds a railway to Cairo and capitulates you. That's all they have to do. That's it. I mean, that's a one and done solution.
I will say though, with that, you mentioned a big thing. Builds a railway to Cairo.
It's hard.
That requires an industry. So industry wins wars. There you go. There's another catchphrase.
There you go. That's true. That's true. I mean, yeah, building the path to victory requires industry for sure. I mean, it's going to be really interesting. I think, especially now that we have this faster build-up time, we're going speed 4, longer time in the war, more time to lay down those tracks on the road to victory. Look, I'm going to stop with this. Let's get ourselves into the game and take a look here. So I will reveal, first off, without further ado, we do indeed have Japan. Seemops has gone for Japan. The Expeditionary Force going for that Navy, no doubt wishing to go for Malta. He's already, in fact, activated his battle plan, perhaps a tiny bit premature, but there we go.
I love that it's called the Tripoli Offensive. How subversive is that? They've named the attack after a different victory point.
I also like... I'm very interested to see, he's sent both infantry divisions onto this attack. So far, we've seen very small attacks onto Malta. And it's been, you know, I arrived first, you just leave me alone. Yes. There's less of a reliance on that here. More expectation that perhaps Dankus might be wanting to go against him. Now, looking over at Dankus, he's gone US, so it's another big naval build, and more over towards the Navy. The carriers, of course. He's got where is the US?
The US is actually an industry build, a sneaky industry build.
Yes.
It's very industry heavy. It does give you medium tanks, which is very in Dankus's wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And it also gives you production on infantry equipment. It's kind of very land based, but it also gives you CAS. It's the sneaky, which really also nails in.
Am I mistaken? It spawns you no ships, I think is what I'm seeing.
I believe it might not, but
okay. So this is a very so this is okay. I like it. Thank you, Dankus. This is exactly what I was talking about. The Allied nations, they've got the arsenal of democracy. Let's take a look at some of those focuses. They've got the arsenal of democracy, giving them that base 15% construction speed. You love to see it. Consumer goods down. You love to see it. Stability, that gives you construction speed, and consumer goods down. You love to see it. They've got passing the torch to get you that nice command power bonuses. They've got all the extra industry. He's probably going to power through some of these. I want to see it. You know, it's one of those things about railways to Cairo. It can actually start from Cairo.
Very nice.
So we're now looking at a railway to Tunisia, potentially. I think the naval play is easier. It's easier, it's potentially smarter. But what I want to see is just a railway all the way across. It's about land. You can win at sea. We've said how important it is, but at the end of the day, I can win at on land. They do have a starting navy. It's just pointed out.
Yes, everyone has a starting navy. Yes. In initial design, there was also the possibility of giving the USA some extra ships, and I believe that was Umdanar in the the mod development, and it actually turned out that they were too powerful in certain cases because of this. So because there's so many industry modifiers in the USA, it means there is less of a reliance on going full mills on the industry tree. Therefore, you can bump out more dockyards and actually just pump out ships.
Yep, that makes sense.
Because there is like the training modifiers and production modifiers have been tweaked slightly with this mod, I do believe.
Sure.
Just a little bit. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that there is enough there that you can at least get a very solid cruiser and screening force out. So they're not completely out on that front. It's just about, it's very much a nation of the more macro planning and then pumping out, like being supported any way you can in that industrial capacity. And also, it has to be said, those medium tank divisions, a 32 width medium tank division, is huge. A potent
absolutely
piece of machine, because like the German tree and the Soviet tree gives you heavy tanks, which are, pack a punch, but they're nowhere near as maneuverable. And most of the desert warfare is maneuver in this game.
Absolutely. Speaking of you being wrong, and something that chat pointed out in the last game, which is true, they actually do both start at partial mobilization.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to be coming in from partial mobilization, and we're going to see how quickly they're going to be able to shift off that. I'm going to be very interested to see what Dankus's next focus is. I suspect it's going to be, yes, indeed, industry. Industry as a third pick has been very popular so far, and I'm curious to see if that carries on. I almost feel like taking it first is viable because I mean, you want to have the divisions so you can train them. That's one thing, obviously. You want to have the army experience so you can design new ones. But if you just got out 1, 2 of these, the thing is, of course, that the deeper into this tree you get, it keeps doubling. You know, you've got 3, 6, 12 in terms of the factories you get, and that stays consistent across all sides of this tree. And the 2 you're grabbing early are not huge, but the research bonus, 3 times 100% research bonus, that is huge.
Yes. Yeah, it really is. And to be able to pump out that industry earlier, up those production efficiency caps, all of those really can really kickstart an industry. That's actually, like I said in the previous casting, that's actually how I've been playing the mod. I've been doing my development side first and then counter-picking with my commander choice, or my faction choice, should I say. Trying to get those buzzwords correct in my head. But I would say if you are going US, it's actually, I feel, better to hard dive into the bonuses, try and get Arsenal and Democracy out as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And then go into your industry just so you've got those modifiers really pumping in really early, or as early as possible.
Makes sense. Taking a look over here at Seemops' perspective, he's gone very similar. First 2 focuses, grabbing those army experience points, grabbing the actual troops and tanks, etc. And then he's launching straight into industry. How long he stays on industry is going to be interesting. Most of the time, we've seen our players unlocking... Ooh, heavy anti-tank, interesting. Let's take a look at his production here for a second. He hasn't started, but he did straight away get improved anti-tank as one of his very, very first priorities. He, we spoke a little bit about everyone knowing that Dankus is a tank boy, and people do know that. People do know that, and we'll see if he's going to actually start building those to counter it. His cruisers are coming out. Meanwhile, let's see if there are any attempts. Okay, here we go. A step change in the nature of naval warfare in this game. He is building, and by he, I mean Dankus, he's building submarines. And let's take a look at the submarines that he is building. It's the Salmon class, so it's very basic. It's got a fair amount of torpedoes. Sometimes people cut these down in order to make them cheaper, but it's a fair amount of torpedoes. And he's not trying for the surface war. That's what it looks like. He's just going with the submarines. And so that's a supply-based play. Now, the problem with the supply-based play, if you want to win by taking, as the Allied powers, if you want to win by taking Tripoli, by the time you get to Tripoli, no amount of convoy raiding is going to stop the Axis having good supply.
Yes.
Because if they want to, it's just 3, 4 little bits of railway. I mean, 5 if you want to be pernickety about it. There's 5 bits of railway, and it solves the problem of submarines. It does, however, allow his submarines to slightly interdict the resource deliveries from Malta.
Exactly, yes.
And this is something that we saw in the first game, actually, that we didn't really notice when we were casting it. And Chat and also Dankus afterwards pointed it out as quite an influential aspect of his game, was that he actually ran out of fuel on the start. He was all the way down to nothing. And so when he was trying for his pushes around here, a lot of that was being done with major penalties on his units. And that's a very untenable position to find yourself in. You have that pushing with lack of fuel. I mean, it's a classic Axis problem, obviously.
Yes. Oh yes.
But so if Dankus is able to interdict the things coming in from Malta, we might well see something there. Now look at the simplicity of the Dankus build so far. I mean, that's quite striking. What's he researching to fit into this armored train? Right, yeah, we have seen our players getting hammered with train casualties. He's getting the improved artillery upgrade. Okay, interesting. Is he going to go for rocket artillery again? I'd like to see some rocket artillery. Nothing training just yet. Any template action? Interesting. He's going with a 10 and a 20 width, assuming that his naming conventions stand strong. What do you think about that? Lack of 40? 40 coming up, maybe, or lack of 40?
I'm not sold on 10s and 20s in this terrain.
Okay.
I'm thinking 15 and 25s are kind of better. 15 fitting into the desert combat with far better. 25 hitting into those hills and mountains. Because there is actually a really subset of mountains, especially whether there's mountains around Benghazi, but if you head towards Tripoli, there's a huge line of hills that you have to push through, which a kind of standard combat width doesn't really tackle very well.
Sure. No, I agree. I feel like almost even a 45. The problem with going up to 40, 45, of course, whatever the combat width.
It's the supply weight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The supply weight really starts to become a problem. So I think I must agree. I think a 15, maybe one tank 45. That would be fun to see. One tank division going up to 45. Just to explain this for you, chat, for those of you, I know many of you are experts, but for those of you that are less expert on how this works, if you start a fight in a province, let's say this province versus this province, initially there's 90 combat width. That means you can essentially fit 90 combat width worth of troops into that battle. If you try and fit more than that in, you get penalties. Now each additional angle, so let's say you're attacking here and here against this province, adds 45. Now you can fit 3 45. So you want to find a unit size which gets you a nice situation in various different terrains. So of course the terrains they're likely to be fighting in are basically hills, mountains, and desert. Desert is the big one. But then in mountains, it comes down to 75. Now 75, of course, also divisible by 15, which means you can do it there. The additional attacks do complicate things there. But so 25 is nicer for mountains. And then, of course, when you're playing with hills, you're looking at 80, at which point a 20 or a 40 is perfect, which is one of the big reasons why 20 and 40s are still somewhat meta. But yeah, I think a 15 or a 45 does pretty well, especially if you're Dankus and you're planning for a big offensive crushing across here towards Tripoli. Lots of hills around Tripoli, though. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I think one of the advantages of the offensive is, let's see what he's doing over here, Seemops. He's got his intelligence agency, but if Dankus is not trying to face him at sea, he's got 1 focus, 2 focus, 3 focuses that really aren't going to do much for him.
Yeah.
He's going to get, instantly an agent captured there. But yeah, he's going to get this naval aviation, carries through the straits, and the marine division. Now, the marine division is not worthless if you're not going naval, because it's still an excellent infantry division.
And it gives you bonuses across rivers.
True.
And marshlands. Not that many of those in the desert. Until you get to Cairo. If he's pushing all the way to Cairo, there's quite a few rivers there. But
yeah, it's not a huge quantity of rivers we're going on here. But, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see whether he manages to detect which path the Allies are going down, in which case he might be able to try and adjust things. Halfway, more than halfway now, through our countdown to war. It really does storm away as we're coming in speed for now. Any change on the Dankus side? He's got the anti-tanks. Okay, so are those anti-tanks going to have anything to shoot at?
I don't know that they will.
Ah, here it is. Basic anti-tank chassis, basic light tank chassis is now being produced by Seemops, and there is the naval invasion, of course, still planned up there. No surprises. His spy network deteriorating, of course, after his agent's capture. But yeah, so he is building tanks. He is also building transport planes, quite a few of them, actually. I mean, not huge numbers, but he's got 2 factories on it. That's more of an investment than we've seen so far.
Yes. I like that. I really like that, because the thing is, it negates some of the supply issues. And if we see the same sort of maneuvering that we saw previously from Discard, which was, okay, once the carriers were out and wasn't really required, pull the planes off them, put them in the standard air bases, get yourself some aerial dominance that way.
Yeah.
If there's green air here for Seemops, those transport planes will change the game.
Absolutely. They might well. Let's take a look at Seemops' division stuff. So he's got a motorized infantry, which is just 1 motorized. Okay. Potentially planning a bit of a meme naval invasion. Could be interesting to see. He's got 10 of those divisions being trained. Gosh, could be going for a capitulation play. And he's got the naval supremacy to back it up. I mean, if he lands 10 motorized, I mean, taking a look at these bad boys, 12 kilometers an hour, even with a big supply penalty, those guys can go fast. They are fast as heck. If he can land them here, and then storm south, he might be able to get that capitulation. I don't believe we've played much, or have we? No, we have played around with the victory points in Egypt, so it's not going to be quite as easy to capitulate as it would normally be. But yeah, I mean, that's something I hadn't had to consider recently. How much of the Allies would he need to take before they capitulated?
I believe they need to push down to Asiut, I think, is about where it is.
Okay.
But
I mean, that's doable.
It's very doable. And the thing as well that I also want to point out, which I haven't seen much of, Seemops has put a lot of XP into his officer corps. So we're seeing bonuses here coming in. So the land doctrine cost is an interesting one. Trying to grab that early. Okay. See if they can get those bonuses with land doctrine. Because we actually haven't seen that many doctrinal choices. A lot of people are using their XP to design the perfect vision for them, rather than try and stack some bonuses.
The other thing I'm seeing there is the command power gain. We have seen a lot of forced attack, of last stands. You know, they're key to modern Hoi 4 gameplay at this point. But sorry, you're looking at naval command. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just reading through this 2 naval command and also filling out the Air Force command as well.
Gosh.
Refit yards is one of my favorite of all time, because if you've set up your Navy correctly and you have them automatically going for that refit and those redeployments, getting them back in the fight so much quicker, keeping your naval supremacy, that's going to go a long way to helping hold Malta.
Well, it would if there was any threat to Malta, which it looks like we know there isn't, at which point it's a waste. Although, of course, it's a waste of naval XP on which nothing else could be helpful if we're saying the Navy is essentially already won by Seemop here. But we'll see.
What we will say then as well, if any of the ships do get damaged by random submarine strikes as well, it will get them back out as well.
Gets him defending his convoys faster. That's a good point that I hadn't considered. Yes. Yeah. And then he's got the air ones as well.
Right, one thing before we move on. Screen attack. Now, screen attack is a modifier that's very interesting because that affects light cruisers and destroyers. What do destroyers counter?
Yep. Subs, of course. Makes sense. Makes sense. He's also got the 2 there on air going for air advisor costs, because obviously, as we can see, he's got the ground attack 1 in already, and fighter detection plus air mission efficiency. Pretty nice there. Looking like he's trying to, really secure the air. Let's take a look over here at Dankus's air efforts, if I'm just going to yoink back control here. So far, still the anti-tank, a lot into artillery. But look at this air investment, 15 on fighter 2s. Let's see how he's designed those fighters. I'm very curious to see. Oh, he's also got CAS coming out. Okay, the fighters, it's a nice, simple design. He's got 8 machine guns and a cannon. Nice, simple, effective, high air attack, 44 air attack, very, very nice, and not sacrificing any agility on trying to get significant ground attack values on there. Meanwhile, the CAS that he has developed separately, we haven't seen big use of CAS so far.
No, we have not.
He's going for the CAS secondary weapons, giving them that nice ground attack, and he has the bomb locks and the anti-tank cannon going for maximum ground attack. Look at that, 23 ground attack, pretty darn nice, and again, total disregard for naval targeting, total disregard for naval attack. He does not care about these things. He is here to build the railway to victory as he storms across Northern Africa. That is at least the attempt.
Speaking of building, all of the focuses thus far heavily into the industry. All the mills are out. Now going down to the standard civilian industry sector with no real looks into the bonuses from the focuses over here for the faction-specific ones. I will say, oil in the Sound is another interesting one because it adds fuel silos, which is obviously oil conversion speed as well. Right. And yeah, there's some really nice little tidbits in the street, but to see a big industry push this early, I think this is a big switch from Dankus.
It is. It's very different to how he played the first one. We're now merely 64 days from war. But yes, he's just going for the industrial sector, not worrying so much about those bonuses. I don't know. I mean, I want to see someone run the maths on how quick rushing Arsenal democracy versus getting out your industrial sector.
I feel like that's something you're going to do later tonight.
Might spreadsheet that out.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that you will find much enjoyment from, Christo. But something I also want to say about Dankus's build so far, there's only 8 divisions on the board.
It's true.
So here's the thing. If Seemops can act fast with these 19 current divisions, look at those naval invasions being planned already.
I agree.
I need to come over to my perspective because look at this. There is a complete... They're going for the capitulation.
They're going... I mean, it looks like he's going for the day 1 capitulation.
Yeah.
And you push in, you rush to Benghazi. So far, people have done fairly reckless rushes to Benghazi.
Yeah.
And that's welcome to be exploited. I mean, not least if he invades Benghazi, because if you do that big invasion and cut them off from supply, however fast they want to move, they're not going to be able to get back in time. And of course, he's going to be able to try and hold El Alamein. It's going to be really interesting to see whether he defends.
I would really like to see a really... unfortunately, a lot of these invasions seem to be on the same commander.
Oh, yes.
But is what I would like to see is I'd like to see the Malta get taken. I'd like to see a bait naval invasion on Benghazi.
Draw him in.
Dankus in. Then hit fire on that backline offensive and do the rush and just blow Dankus out of the water. Would, if this gets pulled off, this might be the play of the day.
It absolutely might. I mean, if we look at what Dankus is going to use to try and avoid this, he does have these divisions in reserve. Which I can't seem to expand. There we go. He does have these guys in reserve. Oh, that's right. I'm expanding that on his perspective as well. He does have these 6 guys. They're training up, and he's got these 3. He did go stick with that 20. Oh, these are up to 28, actually. Okay. So they're a little larger than their name might suggest. But yeah, he's going to have those guys ready to deploy if he needs them. So I personally, though I know we would all love to see the capitulation here, I personally don't think I can see a way that it happens.
No, I am pretty confident in Dankus as a player that whatever is thrown at them, that they will, turn it around. But we are just a few days to war now. However, just 22 days left. The planning, the commander's choices, is going to come down to this. What I also will say about Seemops' plan here. They're using motorized for this. This is a big industrial investment into this plan. If it doesn't pull back, how many men do they have to stock the line? It's still a pretty sizable force, but how in the whole, how much of a setback is it going to be? Are we then going to be waiting 20 minutes for their next play? All the while Dankus can really put the pressure on.
And it's going to mean that his ability to motorize this is going to be severely limited. Obviously completely vital for the efficient supply out of Tripoli, allowing you to do that offensive into the center.
Yeah, they're actually in a negative of trucks. Even before the war has begun. So as soon as those losses get racked up as well, it's gonna be a little tough, and they're really gonna struggle to replace.
Absolutely. I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see what he does here. He's not launching it into as many provinces as he theoretically could, which is interesting. But it's going to be, I mean, I don't see a world where, oh, look at this. We also have a little defensive line active here from Dankus holding around El Alamein. Of course, Dankus did see a very similar invasion play earlier, so he seems to know. There we go. War has begun. Charging straight in with these military police single cav divisions. Not overcommitting. Look at that. That's an interesting play. Oh, okay, there we go. I was surprised they weren't going to go in at all. But do we see the invasion launched? We absolutely do, and I'm going to have to hand over to you just for a second here.
Oh, yes, no, absolutely. The invasion has begun. Dankus moving in pretty swiftly here. Already at Benghazi, Tripoli has been taken here by Seemops, and the invasion, Bolter's already in. So Seemops currently has the VP lead. It's going to be down to what happens with these background invasions and down to what happens in Benghazi. Are we going to see another battleground Benghazi?
We might.
Is this going to be the key point?
We might. Oh, and if I just steal control back here for a second, we are already seeing a sizable amount. Oh, yes, look at this. Even though, of course, the Axis have the dramatic naval advantage, there goes their naval invasion. Straight to the bottom, sent there by the Allied Navy. Where is Seemops' Navy? It doesn't appear.
Seemops invaded Malta with paratroopers.
Oh, so he has, okay, because the entire naval invasion is stuck here being roundly trounced by this. But where is his Navy? Where is his main fleet? It looks like right now he's got it on protecting convoys. What a misplay!
That is a big misplay, especially with how chunky a fleet it is.
He needs it on naval invasion support, so it's present.
Yeah, it's got 3 carriers as well. The three really, carriers are potent in Hearts of Iron if played correctly. They have to be screened well, but if they can, they are the highest damage output.
Absolutely.
Ship in the game, because they are the only ship other than submarines that from the get-go can target all lines of a naval battle.
Yes, and if we look at the amount of damage done here. Oh, interesting, actually. Perhaps I'm mistaken. Oh, yes, I apologize. The raid, the raid was only on the Malta invasion. He hasn't launched the invasion of actually going after the capitulation plane. Not yet. Has that tempted Dankus to withdraw his defensive line? It has not. No. Not yet. And here we go. Finally, actually, The Navy has come to play, but not quick enough. The speedy Allied Navy is out of there in a flash, taking very minimal damage, just one single destroyer down. But with them being forced out of this region, that's going to leave open the massive naval invasion. You know, he can avoid dying, but unless he can actually go toe-to-toe, he's in trouble. But look at those casualties. Look at the strength in these divisions. Oh my god, no! Which included the elite paratrooper division down to 10% strength. We are looking at 24,000 casualties for the Axis powers already. That is not what you want to see. I mean, the combat log here, unfortunately, will only refer to the land, so I can't show it that way, but that's a hefty loss. He's down in the hole on support equipment, on infantry equipment, even though he just deleted 3 of those divisions, and it looks like switched the other one over. But
the story of Malta, they have no bananas. Their rations completely look, this is a masterful switch from Dankus here. Gone back more to their roots, more to what they're used to playing. What we saw in the first game was them trying something out of sorts for them. They went for an infantry play. They tried to combat with the Navy. Dankus knows they're not that strong at the Navy, so they've gone, okay, I'm going to go for the old-fashioned sub-meta and focus my land. And what we're seeing is a more conservative Dankus. We're seeing them really like, I don't want to lose this anymore. I've got to really nail down what I'm doing. And honestly, by the fact that the biggest tell on why this is a conservative Dankus play is there is still some League of Neutrality here in North Africa. They are being so careful.
I would like to point out what I think might be a massive Seemops L. Look at this situation right now. He's got 2 civilian factories available. And he's not doing the focus for them. He hasn't done any of the industrial sector focuses apart from obviously starting that rapid industrialization, which has left him with so much being used up in his consumer goods. He's only got 2. So I said you only have to build like 5 bits of railway here. I mean, only 5. It's going to take him, what are we looking at here, till November just to get this done. I mean, that's just the next level. That's not feasible. He needs to take the consumer goods, consumer factories focus there. Otherwise, I mean, if there was a determined offensive from Dankus right now, I think it would win. I mean, he has now got Benghazi. He's got this. He can motorize it. He's got the... has he got any trucks? He's not got the trucks needed. That's unfortunate. But he could get some trucks going. He could motorize this. It looks like... Is this one he's building?
I don't know. You know what? We should go to Dankus's perspective and
see
if
should
we can find out.
Indeed. Oh, wrong one. Excuse me. There we go.
There we go. Look at that concentration. Dankus probably... Tommy was saying he got a text from Dankus right after that loss at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
And Dankus was like, I can't let this happen again. The concentration in that man's face right now. Look at him. He doesn't know. Calculating.
He doesn't know the opportunity he has.
No.
He's building a railway to the front. I mean, he's if we take a look, he has available to him now a dramatically nicer 30 civilian factories
railway gun.
And a railway gun in fact.
See, this was a big downfall for Habibi in the last game. The railway gun took up so much of the industry that they couldn't keep up on the rest of what they needed.
Interesting.
And the modifier was so negligible that it didn't matter. I will say, however, the industrial shape of Dankus is far better.
Oh yes, much more healthy, absolutely,
than that of Seemops, so it might not be as big an issue. Whereas Discard and Habibi were both very much on it with planning their industrial game. Speaking of which, let's actually take a look at Seemops and what they're currently planning on their end. There we have Seemops. Oh, look at that background.
It's a very nice background.
That's a very nice background. Currently, it seems to be weighing up some advisors there.
I'm not sure that's going to help the gameplay, to be honest.
Brilliant.
Perfect timing.
It's just
so he's worrying about the convoy raiding, obviously, but he's got a good situation. He's got his navy, just mulling around, doing a bit of a naval invasion. He's got it set right now, at least. He's got it onto the naval thing. But the thing is, he can't spend too much longer waiting for those railways, because right now, the arsenal of democracy, the American industrial machine, is plowing its way into reinforcing those railways. And as soon as those railways are ready at the front, you know Dankus is going to push. And honestly, right now, I don't see a way a push loses. He's got the numerical advantage. He's got the supply advantage. And we've said it before. I'll say it again. An army marches on its stomach. Unfortunately, Dankus right now, he does have some pretty undersupplied divisions. If we hop back over here for a moment, look at this prioritization. He's got very, very few things on sport equipment, anti-tank, rocket artillery. He has got that rocket artillery he's trying to build, by the way.
What's the supply look like for Dankus?
It's not good now. It's not good now.
As in, like, logistically, what have they got stored up in terms of with that priority?
No trucks. No trucks is an interesting situation. He's clearly relying on staying close to this base because, of course, trucks, mostly they're just providing you that range, but he's not too concerned by that. Right now, he's finished building his railway connection all the way over, but he's not got a hub at the end of it. So I'm not really sure what he's going to be able to do from there. Yeah, raiding, carrying on. He's doing well on the raiding so far is our Dankus, managing to push through there pretty effectively. Oh, big movements of some of these little motorized divisions to the front, potentially going to do a little bit of probing, a little bit of exploratory attacks. He's got the Navy just standing by, holding position, ready to provide a little bit of short bombardment. Yes, go ahead.
While we look at this Navy, is what needs to happen is these carriers need to be put back into port on their own. This big Navy needs to be broken up and sent as a...
that's what he's doing.
They need to be set up to destroy these submarines before it's too late. The thing is about the detection on submarines as well. Ships move at the speed of their slowest ship.
Yes.
And currently, those carriers are pulling back those destroyers from being able to take out those submarines.
Absolutely. That's a great point. That's a great point. They're great at finding them. They're not great at killing them.
Yes.
And we've seen that little probing offensive, and here is the play that we were waiting for from Dankus. He's built the port over here, which is going to allow him to get the supply hub, not a supply hub literally, but the effects of a supply base here, which is going to mean that he's going to be able to potentially launch an offensive from there. And we're seeing a lot of shuffling around here on this side. It means like we're going to potentially see some attrition there. He's looking pretty powerful. But the situation, I mean, we're talking about how well Dankus has been doing so far, but look, here we go. Seemops, he's getting some of those subs. He's detecting them. He's taking them out. It is a destroyer-focused Navy. That's exactly what we were thinking.
Yeah, so that's what we need. We need to see this to happen to the entire fleet, because another main point is that main fleet isn't adequately screened right now.
True.
Because there is no heavy ship in there. So carriers require one heavy ship as well as the 3 screens.
Yes.
To be adequately screened. They require either a heavy cruiser, a battle cruiser, or a battleship.
Yep.
They don't have that in this build. So the carriers right now are flimsy enough to be targeted by heavy ships directly. There is no screen in front of them as soon as those screens go down. So right now, it's doubly not safe.
Yes.
So just put them in port, take the planes off them right now, I'd say, use them on a different front, maybe as naval bombers statically from, say, Tripoli or Malta, because you've got it. Malta would be actually the best because aerially they'd be closest to the center of the naval zone, therefore would have the best range on that.
Yeah, that is what he's currently doing.
And then use these light ships, get these light cruisers, move them into their own task force. Grab these light cruisers, move them into their own task force themselves, move the destroyers out as well. Set up the destroyers exactly as they've got the destroyers here and here. These are really nice, but take these light cruisers out, break them up, put them into do not engage, and have them as like 2s and 3s on their own as patrol fleets, spotting these and then using the destroyers as destroyer strike forces, take out the submarines that way.
I do agree. We're seeing some conflict in the air war. This is an interesting, I mean, that's quite the flex. Dankus is drilling the troops on the front line right now. He's not afraid. He's not afraid, and he's showing it. He's also not garrisoning his port.
This is the Hoi Speed 5 Commanders in Conflict version of a come at me, bro.
It does seem like it.
Yeah.
It does seem like it. Obviously, his railway is finished all the way across. He just went to level 1 on that naval base. He is now. Okay, there we go. He's moved someone back into the port. That seems a little bit more prudent. But yeah. Meanwhile, I mean,
finally seeing an industry start to be pumped out here by Seemops, but I think it's too late. Honestly, I think the slow roll has been so much that we're not going to see the benefits compared to.
No, but he will. It looks like unless Dankus launches the offensive almost immediately, he's going to get the railway to Tripoli.
True.
Which is of course a big part of it. Because once he gets there, I mean, that locks it down. And we've been talking about the plausibility of this big Seemops offensive, right? Does he launch a huge attack and storm over here and try and do the capitulation play? And he's still got the people planned, you know, it's on the table. But the thing is, he just doesn't need to.
Nope.
Unless Dankus can launch a convincing offensive. But remember, so far, the games that we've actually had casted, we've been seeing mostly major offensive around Benghazi. Benghazi is notably easier to hold than Tripoli.
Yes.
Because if you look here, how he's holding Tripoli, he's got a bunch of people in these hills. So the idea is clearly, if the enemy tries to push around you, you just let them overextend and then you cut them off.
Yes.
So that's nice, but it's also risky because this province here, attacked from 3 directions, it's not only is it going to be a nice attack you got from here, here, and here, if you rush in, rush around the back, pin these divisions. You're attacking into here. Not only that, you're going to damage this airbase just because you're fighting in the tile. And if that airbase gets significantly damaged, it would take a lot of damage, but if it gets significantly damaged, you're going to start to see yourself lose in the air war, and that's obviously not what you want. Right now, the air battle is happening over the sea. We can see that Dankus is going all in on fighters, whereas Seemops has these chappies here. The fleet being pinged here.
Look at the sub losses.
Look at that. Oh my goodness.
This is exactly what we wanted to see. Are these planes taken from the carriers? Have they been pulled off of the carriers?
Ah, it's a great point. Yes, they have. Yeah. They're flying from Malta, they're off the carriers, and they are annihilating Dankus'.
This is the turnaround that Seemops needed to get this naval dominance. Absolutely, and it's what I want to point out. There is 88 transports on Tunis right now. I want to see another paratrooper come out just so you've got that extra support. Because
look at that,
especially if they can turn around the air war, if they can turn around the naval war, they have complete domination of the land and the sea, so the air and the sea. Anything that Dankus tries to do, there's always a risk of something landing behind them.
Absolutely, yeah, by air or by sea. And he's got 16 subs right here. But if you look at this, look at that. He's managed to lose quite a few of them. He's got 4 dead there. He's got 7 dead there. You know, there's a number of them. There's a number of them that are going down. He looks like he's preparing potentially for an offensive. No, I'm probably just trying to reinforce this. This is a really interesting front line to have to try and hold these 4 provinces with this encirclement that he's basically just saying, yeah, by all means, encircle me. Come round here. I won't care. You know, you can do that all you like. And these little probing attacks that keep getting driven back are very entertaining to me.
Seemops is also planning to build some forts in Tripoli.
Okay, interesting. Not trying to fortify the whole thing, but rather putting 4, on Tripoli. Really planning on potentially just doing that last stand there.
They won't even get there with their current industry, because if you look at it, 8 of those 13 civilian factories they have currently being dominated by consumer goods.
And the only reason his supply situation isn't dire, or at least one of the only reasons, is because he has got a lot from airplanes. I mean, look at that. Demanded supplies, 66 from airplanes being used up, and he has got those guys flying it down from up here, just dropping those.
Historically, how Tripoli was actually supplied quite a lot of the time was through the air. So that's interesting to see.
That's cool.
But yeah, the thing is, I think it's safe to say that if this is always going to be a land battle, 1v1 on a land battle, and only a land battle, Dankus is the most proficient player we have. But the Navy and the air is slowly becoming Dankus' Achilles heel.
It does seem that way.
And I think other players are starting to identify that and really use it, which is why you can get these defensive scenarios here. I feel like if Dankus maybe gets the Axis in their hands, where it's like they can get to that more defensive scenario quicker, it plays better into the play style that Dankus wants to play. I believe right now, the absolute manipulation that is going on that is so close to tipping in the favor of Seemops, Dankus is going to have a long and hard think of how they want to come at tomorrow's games.
I agree. But there is a potential for an upset here. And it all comes down to the first Armored Division. This is a spectacular division. It's obviously not as perfect as it might be in a normal multiplayer, but 193 soft attack, 295 defense, 222 breakthrough, 7.8 kilometer speed. This is a division that can do damage. This is a division that I'm not sure Seemops has an answer to.
Can you open the template for that? Because I want to see if there's been any additional modification from the one that gets spawned in via the first armored thing.
Don't think so, right?
So this is the basic. So it's a very good base division you get.
Yes.
But if we see some development on that, maybe some logistics companies, a maintenance company as well, oh boy, will that be a little breakthrough machine in some of these areas.
And we are getting towards now the completion of that railway. In fact, it might have been completed. Yes, one level of railway is now all the way to Tripoli, which means really it's just a little bit too little too late. Little probing back and forths here, nothing too fancy going on. Both of them know the other has more troops hiding behind the lines. It's very interesting to see what's going to go on here. I mean, little back and forths. That was an interesting play, leaving the airbase there. It's a vulnerable moment right there for but it looks like it's not going to be capitalized on. Seemops just holding their lines, keeping the ships all here. He's reduced the size of the force here. Got a bunch more of them on that convoy escort task that is so important. Less important now, of course, that he does have that Tunis-Tripoli railway established. It's going to be very interesting to see what he does next. Oh, ship fleet moving a little bit.
Dankus is down to just 6 submarines now, which is so low compared to what they had. Those destroyer task forces have been doing work. They've been sinking them.
Yeah.
And that supply issue, that massive supply issue that caused so much unit devastation in the early game, is almost completely counteracted.
And I mean, it was not capitalized on.
No.
Dankus, he did this whole submarine play, and for context, right now, we have 18 on the Axis.
Yeah.
We have a substantially larger force of submarines on the Axis side. It's not even the player that decided to go for it.
Correct.
So, I mean, there's going to have to be some serious moves on Tripoli, and I'm not seeing too much preparation for it. Here we go. Okay, couple more ports are being put in here, but the thing is, he's got such a bad navy. Is he? And there's the railway. Yeah, we'll take that railway, but we're coming to. I mean, we've got 18 minutes left. He's going to need to launch an offensive here, and he's going to need to launch it soon. This is what I asked for, to be fair. A railway all the way across from Cairo to Tunis.
Yeah, but you wanted one player to build it, not them both to build it and then look at each other and say, stare at it. Look, I think I'm going to quickly just jump to I'm going to jump to Dankus, because I want to see this man's focus. Or is that a look of frustration? Is this...
He's got the air. Look at that.
The air has been won, which could be the sign that Dankus is about to pull the ripcord, but he's running out of time to do it. And like you said, that missed opportunity earlier, is this too late?
I don't know. That's terrifying. He's got a lot of planes there. I mean, how many planes is Dankus up to now? If we take a look on here,
yeah,
we can leave it with his...
We'll leave Dankus on the screen, but let's actually look at the plane development. That's the wrong button. So, 319 fighters and 20.
Okay. Versus over on the Axis side, we're looking at only, wow, look at that. Only 51 fighters. 51 fighters, I'll say it again. 123 close air support and 71 naval bombers. And look at that. The offensive has begun so far, looking, thank you, rather powerfully advantaged. And he's not going round the side. He's not cutting too much up around the top. He is saying, no, I'm just going to smash my way through. Tripoli, so far, none of those forts have finished being built. He is struggling a little bit here. It looks like he's actually holding the tank out of vision. And there we go. The railway gun comes in, but it's just not enough. He was attacking those two simultaneously. He could, of course, try a little bit of concentration of force, pushing them out of this southern one. They are looking still pretty deorged, and look at that supply issue.
Yeah.
Real big supply problems here. Let's take a look at the supply map mode. Yeah, just struggling to reach through those hills.
Look at the positioning of the armored division, though.
Very
and it
low.
still currently has supply.
Oh,
This could be interesting, but it could also be the ripcord into the trap card we thought about.
It's quite possible. It's quite possible. There is always. I think we should keep your eyes firmly locked on that potential.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna keep an eye on the naval invasion whilst
I'm very surprised he's sitting here.
Cycling on that.
I guess he's going for the waiting for a lot of the planning bonus here before he launches a major offensive, but it's questionable, right? It's questionable because he gave up his supply grace, and now we're going to start suffering larger and larger penalties as these divisions suffer less and less, receive less and less supply. The railway gun also, yeah, right up here on the front line, ready to try and assist, but there are some weaknesses. I mean, he doesn't have... Whoa! He deleted the tank division. Pourquoi?
I know what's going on there.
Okay. Yeah.
So, can you open up his production screen for a moment? Let's see if there's anything that's being built in there to tailor this.
Doesn't seem like it.
There's no heavy tanks in there.
No.
So as soon as that starts losing supply,
Yeah, but he could have shrunk it.
Well, you could shrink it, yes, or you could delete it and get the infantry equipment from it.
Still, I'm not sure about
I'm not
that.
sold.
Whoa, look at the freaking... Oh my god, I'm sorry to interrupt, but look at that smackdown of an offensive. That was like a 7-hour attack. Jesus Christ.
Did the tanks perhaps go into the infantry template?
Oh, I didn't think of that. No.
No? Okay, so this is really interesting.
That was an amazing offensive. With the massive cast support that made it possible, that was a heck of it.
Yep.
That was a heck of it. I mean, he's cruising in here. And this, of course, oh my god, of course, I'd forgotten about that. He's got naval supremacy now, but think about the naval supremacy he'll get if he can win this attack, which he can.
Yep.
Oh, maybe not. God, the deorging speed of this is crazy. This kind of micro at speed 3. There we go. He's got the win, but what's behind the lines? He's got this defense in depth arrayed against him. It looks like Seemops is prepared to lose the airbase. He knew he was already losing the air war, so I suppose it's less important than it could be.
Seemops isn't even using that airbase right now. It's all in Malta.
Malta's a good range one. Yeah,
but also Malta, most of the area is currently stationed in dealing with the naval zone. Well, actually, it has now moved over.
Okay.
But it's probably a little bit too late now that it's fallen to the hands of Dankus. Do you know what would be really nice? If Dankus here had transport planes and could get there, and now that they've got the green air, because that airbase will become partial node, and the supply question will be so much better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I just hop back over here,
totally.
It's going to be really interesting to see whether this fight is plausible. And I honestly, it's partly going to come down to divisions. Like if we take a look here, we've got these prioritized 40 wits. They've got 558 defense, 355 attack, and 45 org, and they're going up against the Axis divisions, of course, which are mostly these chappies. They're much smaller. They're much smaller. And then he's got the 30 wits, okay, with 219 soft attack. There is the offensive. It's so far, Dankus is not quite able to get the win. He's pushing in. He's got the railway gun bombardment. He's got the air superiority. He doesn't have a decryption advantage. And honestly, I mean, there was a last stand popped there. It was not needed.
No,
it was
not
needed.
needed.
I think this, honestly, Dankus he rolled the dice on the infantry, but the lack of tanks. If he had the tanks here, I'm very curious to ask what happened to the tanks.
There's passing the torch coming in, which is the planning factor coming in for Dankus.
True.
Arsenal Democracy next up. Obviously, that's going to really help with the industry and anything that's lost. However, I think Dankus is kind of really racking their brain in trying to work out how they're going to get this push to work or the capitulation to go, because Malta is just being so held, so dominantly held right now.
Wow, I mean, look at the soft attack is fantastic, but at the end of the day, it's lower than the massive entrenched defense. I mean, with 50% experience, intel advantage, he's trying to go one after another, just getting plenty of that CAS involved, but with the going with the right width, but it's not looking great.
Seemops has actually begun getting those forts out as well. They've been bumped to the top of the production order now that the pressure is on slightly. So these positions aren't even the forts yet. We're not even at the forts yet.
The thing is, he doesn't quite need to get to the forts because look at this. If he can go round behind Tripoli, they'll cut that rail connection. Suddenly, his submarines will finally play the dividends that he so desperately needs them to. He does still have some people raiding in here. How effective? No, they're not being effective enough. No. Right now, it's a very effective force here. And look at this. He's attacking back out. He's not allowing that risk to his rail connection. Seemops pushing nicely out. Let's take a look at Seemops' perspective and see what this looks like.
I really want to see what's going on because for them, it's kind of a chill defense and just watch. They've got to watch where Dankus is going right
He does.
And you can see that there's a lot of concentration there, the eyes flickering, and there's a little bit of a head scratch. But have you noticed they haven't panned the map once? They know they're secure on Malta. They don't need to look at it. It's all focused on this. And I think this is part of the dimension of Dankus' playstyle. Back to that Achilles heel. Once you get him in the Navy, once you get him in the air, Dankus isn't going to give it a second thought. He's going to rely back on what he knows, which is the ground play. And that is where the focus on the defense is going. Yeah. And this is a really good play from Seemops. This is
absolutely.
If Seemops pulls the win on this is a well-deserved win.
I agree. I mean, Seemops has also got those much smaller divisions. You know, he knew he got the Axis, right?
Yep.
He knew he was likely, not certainly, but likely going to be able to be the one that took Malta. And that means he was in the position to be defensive. Now, he's gone with these smaller divisions. What are smaller divisions better at? They're better at reorganization, better for supply, better for defense. And so he's got an army that's very much tailored to what he needs it to do, very much so. And so far, it's been really quite effective. I mean, he's holding the division. He's not allowing Dankus to even stand on the front line, which is excellent. You know, every time Dankus has moved a few troops in here north of Tripoli, he's just sent them packing. He's just crushed in and pushed them out, not allowing them to entrench, not allowing them to get a planning bonus where they want to get it. And with 10 minutes left on the clock, I think Dankus would have to pull out something amazing at this point. He doesn't have it. The person with the trap card right now is Seemops. I mean, he hasn't triggered it yet. He doesn't need to. He's looking very, very dominant, and the Axis player continuing to emerge as the favored to win so far.
Did you see that grab there of Elusive Gentleman? Grabbing the extra agent slot at this time? I like this because if they can get, any intel and all intel, they've still got that captured agent right now, but they'll have two. And that's enough to start doing
operations.
It's
true. It's true.
Which will only improve the defensive structure. Like getting operations down and getting that extra understanding, it's going to just really, really solidify this for Seemops. But yeah, let's go back to looking at some of these combat stats on our end, I think.
Sure thing. I mean, he's looking like he's holding so far, but this is a troubling attack for Seemops. It's finally looking like it's managing to turn. And look at this. This is Dankus. This is the micro. He's moving these divisions in and out. He's cycling beautifully. Reinforcements are trying to come in, but that is a fight that is going pretty rapidly in the other way. Look at this, 1,000 defense on Seemops' freaking divisions. That's insane.
Yeah.
He's got the last stand, but the last stand, I mean, that might have been a misplayed last stand because they got wiped.
Yeah.
Those were divisions that last standed, and it was indeed their last stand. He's got the guys moving in. He's obviously got the superiority. I'm going to keep Tripoli up here in the top right because I think it's useful for us to see how dominant the situation is here. But that was some lovely, lovely micro. And of course, he has the air superiority, which means he can move his troops back and forth really, really, really quickly. He can make things bounce back and forth just where he wants them to. He has the advantage for sure. And here we go.
I think
he's got the staff office plan. He's attempting to go. I mean, I'm not quite sure.
I think.
Oh my lord, he is managing to pull that one out.
I think this is a holding. I think that.
And he got the shock tactic.
The encircle one.
That's not great.
That's really nice.
Oh, it's close.
So just to clarify for those in chat who may be new to this kind of micromanagey, more esports play for Hearts of Iron, cycling in is where you're sitting and you're waiting and trying to hit specific day and battle markers to reinforce your troops. It's about reinforcing your troops at the right time. So whether that's committing people to a flank at the right time or putting them back into the battle after they've already left the battle once. That's insane.
That last stand was a disaster.
There was another one in there as well.
He's last standing to hold this open while they bring in these chaps here, and they're going to be there in just 6 hours, and they just can't move fast enough.
There we go. The encirclement of Tripoli.
I thought it was over.
Yeah.
It is now.
Did Seemops just pull those troops out, or did they die in there?
They died. They were last standing.
They got the ones actually on Tripoli.
They were able to move out.
What's happening?
Oh my God! It's all kicking off.
Okay. Seemops has pulled the trigger on the backup naval invasion. Now the thing is, Dankus has prepared for this.
He has the defensive people in place, but they're only 10 wits.
Yep.
And this is a substantial force he sent. It's not just a bunch of nonsense divisions, although there are some. He's launching 2 good ones. But the 2 good ones were going for elimination, where they're not going to be able to land.
Dankus is pulling back from the line. He's just got some holding.
He's left a few holding Tripoli. Right now, Dankus has the points. But look at this. He knew where they were going to land. A few are going to be able to get down here, but it's
coming down to the final minutes as well.
Oh my God.
Because we are in the final. It's that 6 or
5 minutes left.
Yeah, we've got 5 minutes and 30 seconds left.
And he's pulled back all the way up into Tunisia.
Yep.
The encirclement on Alexandria is complete. He's got people landing. Cairo about to fall. Oh my lord.
So it's going to be a race here to if Dankus capitulates first, or the game timer ends and he holds the 2 VPs. All the while, Seemops is looking at that, but also there's troops back holding towards
Tunis. enough to stay safe.
No, that's enough to push out Tripoli again.
It might well be. That's a great point. That's
8 divisions there to 2 holding divisions.
But with no supply hub. I mean, we're looking over here. Yeah. These guys, they'd really struggle this far away because their nearest supply hub is all the way up here. But, I mean, let's keep eyes on this invasion. Yep. You know, the fact that those 2 good divisions weren't able to land is a disaster.
Yes.
Because these divisions are not worth anything.
They're paper tigers.
Absolutely. So what he needs to do, I mean, he was very unlucky. You know what he didn't do? He didn't scout. He has the Navy. If he'd scouted and known where was defended, and to have those guys land next to Alexandria, that could have been it. But this distraction, I mean, it was a heck of a play. But I can't see a way that this manages to come out. He's pushing into Cairo, trying to defend it with 2 divisions. I mean, the guys over here, they're not as bad, but they're not good. It looks like it was a great attempt. Seemops really trying, but I mean, you know, he gave it his all, but that was doomed. It could have worked if those 2 guys had landed next to Alexandria and then pushed in.
Yes,
it could have been a whole different story. But as it was, trying to land on El Alamein, you know why he was trying to do it. He was just trying to cut all of those supply lines in once, separate the troops. But no, that's a failure. So now the question becomes: are we now going to see Dankus style on him? Because we got 3.5 minutes left. Dankus could go for the capitulation. He doesn't have to. We might see a GG call, of course. But so far, it looks like things are being mopped up. A couple of people being rush deployed back here. And that attack on Tripoli, it was masterfully executed.
Yes, it was. That was a textbook like display of how micro can really change the tide, even on a stagnant defense.
Absolutely. I mean, he was facing a prepared defense with good divisions, with some forts involved, and just having the right people involved. I mean, it's the thing about offensive that's incredibly important is the concentration of force. When you are on the defensive, you have 4 tiles to defend. You have 4 divisions. You can defend each province with 1 division, right? That's all you can do. If you're on the offensive, you've got 4 tiles to attack. You've got 4 divisions. You put them on 1 tile, you've got 4v1, you win. That's why the offensive is the way to win, because you can concentrate force in a way that we really saw here. We had all of the different aspects, and it's something that Tommy was very eloquently talking about in the previous session. We had this different pieces of the jigsaw puzzle coming together perfectly. We had the right naval strategy where he didn't overcommit to it. He just did a little bit of raiding, helping him out. Then he had the right air strategy. He went hard on the land air, the land relevant air. So he didn't care about naval stuff. Meanwhile, we were split. The Axis Air Force was split between trying to defend the air and trying to defend the sea. The land and the sea. So, with the focus that was present there, we had all of those things, and then even, the railway gun. It all came together for a masterful strike on Tripoli, which in mere minutes is going to have officially secured Dankus the win. That was a sight to behold. That was some beautiful plays there.
What I will say as well is to give also some props to Dankus' Navy strategy, but also to a failing here of Seemops, is Malta is great. Malta is a fantastic spot.
It is.
But Seemops didn't invest in the industry.
It's
meaning
true.
all of that resource investment was just idle.
Yep.
The early gains from having Malta and being in control of Malta and the dominance of Malta is only worth its salt if you actually use it.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. And I mean, that, I think, you know, obviously Seemops lost here. I want to give props, though, to that naval invasion. It was a thing of beauty. Seeing those guys soaring up, you know, just when we thought it was over, those guys roaring around over on the top was, it was absolutely
it was a great last
sight
hurrah.
to behold. It was wonderful. It was really wonderful to see. I mean, with a mere minute now left on the clock, it's counting down, but I mean, that was quite something. I mean, Dankus finally securing a win on camera. Dankus, of course, fan favorite, known to be a really, really good player. What I'm looking forward to now, potentially tomorrow, is the rematch. I want to see Dankus revise his original matchup and see how that might go. I mean, you know, the way he originally played against Leonard was, you know, it was a little bit shaky, a little bit overconfident. We're no longer seeing that, not even slightly. We're now very much seeing a more comprehensive play from him. Into the final 10 seconds here. Let's take a look at a few stats on this game. Look at that. The Axis with 136,000 casualties to 45. At the naval side of things, I would not be at all surprised to see, yes, indeed, we did see substantially more convoys dying over on the Axis side. No big surprise there, though, of course, looking to inflict some larger casualties over the rest of it. Okay, that is the end of that round. GG all round, but Dankus does indeed take the win. Let's come back to us for a moment now, and we'll talk a little bit. I mean, the decisive moment there was clearly Tripoli, right?
Yes.
But I think it was earlier. I think it was that was the moment where it came together, right? That was the end of the Rube Goldberg machine. That, you know, the ping pong ball fell on the spoon and it all came together. That's we're going to keep going with these lines, chat. You look forward to these. So I mean, but what happened was right from the beginning, what Dankus did is something that's very impressive. Is his plan survived contact with the enemy.
Yes.
He set out to do something and he carried it all the way through. You know, he was going, okay, I'm going to go on land. I'm going to get a railway, I'm going to go all the way across, and I'm going to storm my way to great victory. And that is indeed what he did. It was a fantastic victory. It was very impressive. It was masterfully executed. The micro at the last second. Yeah. Yes, you only have to deal with one front, but, you know, you've also got the sea in the air, but the way that the division's constantly cycling in and out more rapidly than I could almost follow at one point, it was really quite something.
And what I will say is the macro setup was also excellent from Dankus. And it was lacking from Seemops. Seemops had that brilliant naval dominance, that air turnaround, and that naval turnaround as well, because Dankus did some really nice naval work at the beginning. The macro setup to provide your support for your micro. You can be the best micro player in the world, but if you don't have the macro setup of the industry, it's going to screw you over. But Dankus really pulled it out.
He really did. He really did. And I mean, one other thing from Seemops, he had 60 combat width on Malta. And that's not it. What if that had landed next to Alexandria? What if there had been another 3 good divisions landing next to Alexandria? I mean, that, to me, that was a fantastic play, but the naval invasion, it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy it didn't play out. But we have nattered on long enough. So for now, chat, we'll say goodbye to you a little while as we hand back over to our wonderful hosts. See you soon.
Oh, and we're finally back with some calm and balanced conversation, right, Tommy?
Yes. What a game! Jesus! God damn! I was just saying, before the game we were talking, Germany has an 80% win rate, Malta's very important, and Dankus takes that and says, no, Malta's not important, and no, Germany's not winning all the time, and changes the whole meta.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing that, I mean, because we know for a fact that looking at Twitch chat, we have Dankus supporters, we have Seemops supporters, and half of them are really excited right now and half of them are crying. I respect both of those feelings. But as an outsider who didn't necessarily have a favorite coming in, roller coaster of emotions. You were like, holy shit, Seemops going to take this and come back. Oh, he's looking so strong. And then all of a sudden, he's not. Dankus comes in, grabs Tripoli, and then all of a sudden, again, there's a naval invasion, and maybe Dankus isn't that strong. And then it turned out it was, and we're going to talk to him a bit later about that. But wow.
And once again, as I always have to say, as a fan, this game showed what Hoi4 is capable of.
Yes.
We have so many games on Twitch that are so big esports-wise, and Hoi4 is showing here, especially with these two, what they just done.
Yeah.
It is ready to be on a big stage. There is a lot of excitement in it. Beautiful back and forth. Dankus redeeming himself now, taking the win here. Gonna be so interesting how they go forward from now on.
Definitely. And luckily, we have Dankus with us right now. So let's get a feelings check. Well, okay, the guns are out. At least one of them. How are you feeling, Dankus?
I'm feeling great, actually, because my first loss was also actually to a guy on the Allies, Leonard. And Allies should just not win. There are so many strategies as the Axis to just fortress up Malta and fortress up Tripoli that it shouldn't be possible. I played this enough, though, how to know how to have a chance, at least as the Allies, to push through Africa. There's also a strategy where you do Marines and invade Malta, so it is technically possible, but you need to win Navy if you want to do the Marine thing, and that's less likely if the enemy invests into Navy. Here, you can kind of win with this strategy with the railway gun and 40 woods, even though they invest into land, because you can kind of always crit them. US has very good late game stats. You saw there was 5 minutes left when I actually managed to push Tripoli, and that's not a lot of spare time. If he would have been able to last then for another 5 minutes, I would have been, a lost game. So I was lucky in many ways.
I mean, that's one of the things I wanted to ask you about now that we have 3 games in. So in the essentially rule set that we have for this mod, it's after 60 minutes, it's done. Like, there's no an in-game switch, but it's like we've told you, every game is 60 minutes, right? How does that affect your strategy going into a duel? Because, like you said, there was 5 minutes left when you went for Tripoli.
Yeah. Well, it takes very long. I think it's good that we play on 3-speed when the war is declared, because it takes like 30 minutes to build up supplies enough to go for Tripoli via the land route. Otherwise, you have got to have 1 Navy to be able to do anything earlier, because there's no supply to push Tripoli earlier than that. So I think it's good that we made it 3-speed at war, which is why I'm even more surprised how Leonard won last game. It was pure luck, I would say. Honestly, he caught my navies who had lost naval supremacy, then he could naval invade, and then he caught my division that was already naval invading, and he made it in there like 20 hours before me. Like, it's ridiculous.
Well, I'm glad it doesn't negatively affect you in any way that you lost to Leonard in the first round.
I'm happy Leonard's happy.
I'm looking forward to meeting Leonard again, maybe tomorrow in the KO stage.
Yeah, I am. I will not do the same mistakes. Yeah, I was a bit cocky going into that game, but I'll be more prepared tomorrow.
Well, Dankus, thank you so much. You have 2 rounds left today. Wishing you the best of luck in both of those, of course. And hopefully we'll talk to you more later on.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Tommy, we are officially more than halfway through today. Sadly, has it lived up to your expectations so far?
100%. This is a lot of fun. This is great. The content out of it is great. The games are great. Yeah. You guys are doing a great job. And
it wasn't why I asked, but thank you so much. I will say, though, that if you like what we're doing, if you like this format for Speed 5, please follow us on Twitch. And if you can check out the mod as well on the Steam Workshops, there's a link in Twitch chat. Please do so and give us as much support as you can, because it's really helpful when I need to judge what we're doing next. But we're definitely doing more Hoi content now. Tommy, while I was watching Twitch chat during this game, there was some outcry of people coming in and being like, "Where's Tommy? Where's Tommy?" And I was like,
"Can't be everywhere.
Can't be everywhere."
Can't be everywhere.
But luckily for everyone that shouted and cried about it, for the next 2 games, you are back in the caster seat.
Yeah, but let's not forget these guys are doing an amazing job here.
They're my 2 favorite casters.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see more from them later tonight. And yeah, we see each other back shortly.
We will. Just a quick note that we are going on a slightly longer break because our players need to stretch their legs and probably get something to eat. So the countdown timer is going to be slightly longer this time, but rest assured, we'll be back shortly.